Gaza and its fate is directly tied to the day of the Lord. So not only do we see the peace and security and this covenant with death is tied to the day of the Lord, but now we see how it's overlapping and we see that Gaza is specifically tied to the day of the Lord. So this is making all the more sense biblically where we are. And so we've done studies on Zephaniah. And now that's just coming even into more light, considering everything that we're seeing. But we've done studies on Zephaniah. I encourage you guys to go through and look for them. Um, I recently posted just in the past week the full study again. Um, the book is the book of Zephaniah is a warning of the coming day of the Lord. It is about the setting up for the end. In the first chapter, the second chapter is heavily about the tribulation period and what happens to Gaza. And then the third chapter is also about tribulation, but then it goes into the millennial reign. And so Zephaniah is really, really a rich, short little book. And so let's look at Zephaniah chapter 2, starting in verse 4. For Gaza shall be forsaken. So this is Gaza's future. Gaza will be deserted. Everyone's going to be ran out of it. And we're seeing now why that happens. Because they're going to have to go in. They're going to have to go in with force because of these evil terrorists. Gaza, and also if you just the tunnel system alone, the terror tunnels that are in there, I don't see how they could do it without clearing everybody out because the tunnels are crazy. Just stories underneath the ground of terror tunnels. The infrastructure has to be very, very dangerous. So, for Gaza shall be forsaken and Ashkelon a desolation. They shall drive out Ashdod at noon, and Ekron shall be rooted up. Woe to the inhabitants of the sea coast, the nation of the Cherethites. The word of the Lord is against you, O Canaan, the land of the Philistines. Okay, I want to pause here. What does God think of what's happening in Gaza? He is upset at the Gazans. He's upset at Hamas. He's upset at the terrorist. Notice what he's saying. I will even destroy you. God's saying they're getting out. This is God saying what he thinks about this. We may not like it, but this is what God says. And there shall be no inhabitant. God said, it's going to be uninhabited. It's been used as a terror base. It's been used as a indoctrination center for hate, turning all these people, these children that are innocent children, turning them into terrorists that hate the very children of God. How many people have gone to hell because of this theology that's been taught them in these terrorist camps? God hates that, and he's going to clear it out. And the sea coast shall be for dwellings, and cottages for shepherds, and folds for flocks. And the coast shall be for the remnant of the house of Judah. It's going to be leveled out, and it will not be rebuilt. All this talk about rebuilding it being some, you know, Riviera paradise, that's not going to happen. And I think it's not going to happen probably because tribulation comes in hard. But it won't be rebuilt. It's going to be left for shepherds and for flocks, for the remnant of the house of Judah. So that means this is going to go down during the tribulation, and it's going to be left for Judah and for their flocks. They shall feed thereupon, and in the houses of Ashkelon shall they lie down in the evening. For the Lord your God, Lord their God, shall visit them and turn away their captivity. And then continuing in verse 8, I have heard the reproach of Moab and the revilings of the children of Ammon. So here, God is hearing the tauntings at Israel, the threats against Israel, whereby they have reproached my people and magnified them against their border. Wow, this is what's happening. Therefore, as I live, says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, surely Moab shall be as Sodom, and the children of Ammon as Gomorrah. Even the breeding of nettles and sand pits and the perpetual desolation. The residue of my people shall spoil them, and the remnant of my people shall possess them. This shall they have for their pride. Pride. I think there's a lot of pride when you look at Hamas. This shall be what they have for their pride because they have reproached and magnified themselves against the people of the Lord of hosts. That is the Jewish people. This is his children and his land that he gave them. The Lord will be terrible to them, for he will famish all the gods of the earth, and men shall worship him. Everyone whose name, everyone from his place, even all the isles of the heathen. Zephaniah 2, 4 through 11. So not only does God do away with these evil people and with their terrorist camps, but also there's a turn here, and even the heathen realize that God is God and start to worship him. This right here is mercy. Understand people that are born and live in that kind of environment where they're being brainwashed, hate, they die without God. God's going to put a stop to it and he's going to save them. But what's coming is they're going to be cast out. And that makes sense with what we're seeing because Hamas is buckering down and saying no. And so it looks like violence. It looks like America and Israel. Trump right now is saying if they don't disarm, we're going to disarm them. And it might be violent.